Okay. I had yeah. It's fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're on here live. Just put your hands up there. So we'll begin the meeting in a couple of minutes. As Greg is finished.
Okay. We're going to review YouTube and mute the video because we're going to be hearing feedback from the recording.
Delayed.
Unless I'm a good big phone.
Yeah, that's pretty well. That's right, you're not.
Legal will, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No. This is very unusual. Oh, Dan.
What the hell was right now?
Okay. All right, we're a little bit early. I'll call the meeting order, so we get moving. So I'll ask for an adoption of the agenda. To resolve that the agenda be adopted as tabled. Then should I? Review of the minutes from March 29th, 2023. Are there any errors or omissions of your minutes to review?
Look marvelous.
Hearing none, be it so resolved that the minutes of the meeting of March 29th, 2023 be adopted as tabled. So moved, second by Kevin. All those in favor? Contrary? Carried. Next up is the committee reports. First up is the Finance and Audit Committee. The committee chair is Councillor Hickman. And then you can give a report.
Meeting was April 13th. Agenda item 4A1, board expenditures report, check register and payroll summary for March. And we did not notice any concerns, but does anybody have any questions for staff on this? Okay, we resolved the board adopt the expenditure for the month of March 2023 as tabled. So
Moved by Councillor Hickman, second by Lentil. All those in favor? Contrary?
4A2, the incorporated towns payment activity report dated April 10th. That's here for review, and staff know they were pleased with this one report. We had no questions or concerns with it as a committee. I'm wondering if anybody around this table has
Any questions or comments?
okay. Shall move on. I will flip over. 4A3 Q1 financial update report. There's a brief note there for your review. And if the expense is less than 25% of revenues at 43%, the board is an excellent standing for the first quarter. Two other items of note: CRA has recently paid HST rebates that were in waiting for over a year. As a result, it suggests the board should consider moving funds into GICs or possibly adding them to reserves. The committee was very pleased with the board's overall performance for the first quarter. We commend staff for the great work, and we commend all the board. Actually, any questions? Any highlights you want to, Craig?
The last couple of lines, we're really pleased with the, we have roughly about 50% of our waste collection fees in, and, we have the 2 payments from the city already, so we're doing, we're ahead of the game on the revenue. Expenses, as you can see, most of them are floating around 20 to 25% or below 25%, so for a quarter of the year, we're doing really good shape. That's even payroll 21%, because a lot of the big ticket items are still low. We did add the budget a little bit for diesel and repair, and that Kevin's been doing a really good job with the trucks, and the amounts that we've had in thus far are below expectations. So we're doing very well.
Excellent. Did you move any further on where to put funds and whether GICs or
We
reserve?
have an account set up a high interest savings account. We haven't moved any money in your debt. We in the process of getting a few more quotes from BMO with regards to where GICs have gone. The amounts we were offered last year, the rates were offered last year down a little bit. So we're going to hear back from him, and we'll come back to the next finance committee.
Okay, great. Perfect. Other thoughts or ideas or questions? Okay. 4A4 household hazardous waste collection, transportation and disposal and road. There's a briefing note for review. There will be 17 events throughout the region this year. And there is a 29% increase in tender costs over last year, unfortunately. But that's because we had one contractor and the private sector provided the service. So, of course, they have rising costs of wages, fuel, etc. And the contractor deemed it reasonable and necessary. So I guess we have the same opinion. Certainly, we would expect it to be all. Any questions on that? Any change from Christie thoughts or any highlights, or when do we get at it?
So the events will start in June, and there'll be 2 Saturdays in June, and the communities are excited to be holding the events again, and we continue to circulate them around the region in order to ensure that each regional fire department has an ability or an opportunity to host.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, we look forward to your region. Being resolved, the board award the household hazardous waste collection, transportation and disposal services contract for 2023 to GFL Environmental Services Inc. for the value of $57,715 plus GST. So
Moved by Councilor Hickman, second by Laney. All those in favor?
I
Entry. Carried. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. Number 2 up is the strategy and policy committee. Chair of that committee is Councilor Greg Tilly. He's not here tonight around some work stuff. So do you need a picture of the pinch hitter?
Yes, sir.
Oh, good, thank you.
Perfect. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the agenda item 4B1, regional water wastewater operator pilot program funding. So a copy of a letter received from the Minister of Municipal and Provincial Affairs confirming continued funding for this program until March 31st, 2024 is included in tonight's meeting package. The board's regional water wastewater operator continues to be an expert resource to the 18 communities serviced during the first quarter of this year. Many of these communities have been experiencing long-standing boil water advisories, and the assistance from an expert resource has been helpful to them to address the issue and to move forward to removal of boil water advisory. The board's operator recently attended the 2023 annual water and wastewater workshop that took place in Gander from March 27th to 30th this year. This annual workshop is hosted by the Department of Environment and Climate Change. For board members' information, this is the only provincial funded received by the board, and it covers the costs of providing regional water and wastewater services. The province has provided funding for this program since October 2015. So be resolved that the board accepts a special assistance grant from the provincial government in the amount of $80,000 to assist with the continuation of the regional water wastewater operator pilot program from April 1st, 2023 through to March 31st, 2024.
Moved by Jamie Corrigan, second by Carol Ridley, all those in favor, any comments on that? Good program, so I'm glad they came back to the table again, so. Anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
All right, the next item is 4B2, communications regarding the implementation of transparent/clear garbage bag policy effective January 1st, 2024. So a briefing note is included in tonight's meeting package. A draft letter and draft pamphlet have been created to announce the policy change and to explain the rationale for moving to the use of transparent or clear garbage bags. A copy of each of those have been provided in tonight's meeting package. In addition, CAO circulated these materials by email several weeks ago and asked members to review and provide comment or suggestions or revisions. I encourage you to review the material if you have not already done so. Once these materials have been finalized, they will be sent to all communities in the region to begin the communication campaign to ensure that residents are aware of this policy change beginning January 2024. It has been agreed that the board will provide a transition period for the implementation of use of the clear bags. Are there any questions for staff?
Just my other comment I made last meeting was about the word mandatory. We're not ready to say that for recycling, obviously.
Not yet, I think that's something we gotta get checked to the environment, I don't know, make an mandatory process for it, but I, further to your point though, I would encourage any municipalities that use a care bag to get into the lineup, I guess, with the rest of the municipalities is. I know, I don't think it's actually based out of Granite here, and I don't know if Paradise is gonna care bag it. These are, but you know, if you're in a municipality that doesn't get serviced by regional service board, I suggest that you bring it back to your council to sort of get it in line, so that I know at some point in time, mandatory recycling is gonna happen.
Well, that's one of the reasons. One of the reasons we do this is to show them, so we can see what they're throwing in.
Yeah.
Obviously for safety too.
It's been a big success for you guys.
Oh,
So, I mean,
and Bill, are you guys there?
yeah, we're there, we're fair.
Is it mandatory recycling?
Supposed to be both done.
Okay. Well, that'll be your next step, I guess.
I think because other municipalities act, you guys can. Make
Oh,
it
okay.
mandatory, but we're not covering the same legislation.
That's the problem, is it?
Yes.
Well, hopefully, in the next few weeks, that we'll be able to submit that, and just get a change.
Again, it's old act. This is a modern way of thinking and yeah, gotta change.
Very well.
Yeah, actually, we talked about it at our council meeting that, we go to clear bags, but, we just purchased a new garbage truck and we're wondering if Eastern Waste Management, if we should somehow join with them with the day to pick up clear garbage bags in Blaketown.
Yep.
Or how much it would cost to take it in our area.
Certainly follow up on that.
Yeah, our director of operations, Kirk, is already working, I think, with your town clerk.
Yes.
And, we're getting the information that you need. And she should be able to get back to you, Clark, within the next couple of days or so with some, more firm information. But we're looking at pricing and, what contractors can do, et cetera. And,
Thank you.
Any other?
Just one quick one, just on supply, Mr. Chair. So certainly in the St. John's metro area, we had a little bit of a challenge at the start. Now there's lots of supply here, but realizing, not everyone gets into the St. John's metro area. So the sooner we get this out, the communities, the better. They can communicate it to the palace supermarkets, line of grocery, et cetera. So they can have the supply ready for January, great.
Yeah, exactly, right. And that's why I suggested other municipalities step on board, because once everybody got their bag,
Yeah.
you know, the Powells and the Walmarts and the, whatever IGA and the co-ops will also have to carry their bags, and it'll be a lot easier for people to. Yes, go ahead.
okay, just for Jamie's information, the board's information, we're hoping, to begin the information campaign next month, actually. And then have a continual, 6 to 7 month information campaign that we regularly getting this information out to communities and any residents as well that we are communicating with in the meantime. We'll be providing that as well if they're customers, of course.
All good.
Good.
Perfect. And the last one for me, Mr. Chair, agenda item 4B3, update the board's service delivery policy for waste to include guidelines for disposal and or use of refrigerators, freezers, or other items that would trap a child or animal. The Briefing note is in tonight's meeting package. The committee is recommending that the board update its guidelines and service delivery policy to include that refrigerators, freezers, and other items that could trap a child or animal will not be used. So one, accept curbside for bulk collection without the owner first removing the doors and taking adequate precautions to prevent any person or animal from being trapped inside. And two, no curbside waste and or recycling will be collected from refrigerators or freezers that are not deemed an acceptable method for storage of curbside waste. The committee reviewed the guidelines and bylaws adopted by others, several municipalities across the country, including Halifax, Toronto, and St. John's. The city of St. John's sanitation regulation has a bylaw that states where a bulk container item container it contains a lid, door, latch, or movable surface permitting access to the inside. The bulk item shall not be placed for collection unless door, lid, latch, or movable surface has been removed. The committee recommended that the service delivery policy for waste be updated with similar wording. In addition to implementing this change, staff have asked to produce an information pamphlet that outlines the new policy, its rationale, and the guidelines going forward, so that the waste collectors and or board staff may attach the information to non-compliant garbage boxes. Time will be provided to customers to replace non-compliant garbage boxes. In addition, the board's website will be updated, communications, email, and a tweet developed. Once the policy statement has been updated, the committee will bring this forward to the board for formal adoption. Are there any questions for staff?
It's basically a safety issue. I mean, we've got to have a conscience on this stuff. We're not trying to make a hardship for anybody to, get a garbage box, but again, we would not like to see a child or and then get trapped inside of a increase and bad things happen. So I think it's a good move. So thank you for that, Jamie, for pitching in there and important tonight. Next up, we have the governance committee, and for the chair of that, the deputy mayor, Kevin Donald, the chair. Kevin, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Our meeting was April 18th. Agenda item 4C1, board members professional development, SWANA, Northern Lights Annual Conference, Yellowknife, June 13th to the 16th, 2023. The board adopted a motion at its February meeting to send the chair and 2 board members to each of the approved events for this year. The approved events included the SWANA Northern Lights Conference being held in Yellowknife in June, as well as the annual SWANA Waste Conference being held in Boston in September. The annual budget for the professional development is $30,000. The chair and 3 members expressed an interest in attending the conference in Yellowknife. However, 2 of those who expressed interest have attended professional development events on behalf of the board in the past. The committee agreed to recommend that the chair, Steve Tessie, and director Wesley Dodds be approved to attend the event. Following the committee meeting, Mr. Droge withdrew his interest in attending this event due to unforeseen circumstances. Therefore, I'm proposing that the board defer the recommended motion from the committee meeting so that the governance committee may bring forward its final recommendation at the May board meeting. If any board member is interested in attending the conference in Yellowknife from June 13th to the 16th, I invite you to send your expression of interest to the CEO. Are there any questions?
Basically, we're opening the door up again, so if anybody wants to attend. And, I guess, Lynn and I were chatting this morning, if that was on that one, then, normally our policy is if you've gone in the last couple of years, we try to pick people that haven't had an opportunity to go, but going forward, I guess, if nobody wants to go or somebody who's already been gone, this makes any sense. If you want to go, push your name forward, and we'll pick a names out of the head that if you've been there before, we'll draw a name on the head. If you haven't been there before, there's a good chance you're going to get to go. So, again, we're trying to make sure that it is professional development, and these conferences are anybody who's attending them are very good. This one in particular, Lynn and I were chatting about it. It has a really strong agenda, really fitting to what we are doing here locally. So it's a good agenda. And, I strongly encourage anybody that gets to go to these conferences, whether it's FCMs or M&Ls, they're all good and they good information. So I encourage you to put your names forward and hopefully get the travel and learn something new. So with that.
Okay, thank you very much. Agenda, anybody else? Agenda item 4C2, the joint council report. A brief notice included in tonight's meeting package. The Southern Shore Joint Council last met on Thursday, April 6th And they were pleased to hear the partnership between the Memorial University and MNL on its environmental engineering pilot project specific to the region. Many have registered for an information session in hopes of getting their community involved in the first phase of the project. The Southern Shore Joint Council also discussed the ongoing struggle with illegal dumping in the communities. They expressed interest in having a presenter attend a future meeting to address this issue. The Conception Bay North Joint Council held a meeting last Thursday, March 30th. Or the last meeting on Thursday, March 30th. The group continues to advocate for the mental health mobile crisis response unit for the region and plans to have a form letter created and signed by all municipalities in the area to help lobby the provincial government for this equipment. Eastern Health and RCMP have already partnered and are ready to proceed. In addition, they were pleased to welcome the local service district to participate to the joint council at the March meeting. The LSD of Freshwater is excited to participate, and it's positive to see the participation at the joint council. The Northern Avalon Joint Council continues to meet on the second Wednesday of each month, with the last meeting held on April 12th. This meeting had an excellent turnout from the delegates and elected government officials. Mr. Charles Brown, CEO of MMSB, provided a very informative presentation. On April 3rd, a meeting was held at George's Brook, Milton, with community representatives to discuss the reconvening of the Smith Sound and Isthmus Area Joint Council. It was agreed that the first meeting of the Joint Council will take place on Monday, May 1st, and will consist of an election of officers and the setting up of regular meetings going forward. The board continues to receive expressions of interest from the St. Mary's Bay, the Southwest Avalon area to reestablish the Joint Council. The board clerk will work on this and reach out to the communities in the area over the coming months. Overall, the board support for this joint council remains really positive. Any questions?
Just a quick show of hands, how many around this table sit on a joint council? Awesome.
Hey, thank you very much.
All right, number 5, correspondence, there is no new correspondence. As of this meeting here.
There is a letter in the meeting package from the minister on the funding, that's it.
Yeah. Just,
It's already been.
new business, we had a great meeting with the town of George's Brook, Milton, on April 3rd. Yes, Raj was there, and he said, well, first appreciate that so much. Chris and Holly came out and did the joint council, so we knocked off a few things. I don't know, Wes, did you want to add a couple words to the?
Yeah, I think overall, the reception was at the meeting with George's Brook, Milton. I think we were able to understand some of the issues that are troubling them. And I think it was very positive. I look forward to having, seeing longer term positive results. In terms of the joint council, the 2 municipalities as well as a number of LSDs were there. And those groups, if I could call it that, were positive. We had a good discussion about the types of things that we can do. We're having a meeting next week. And look forward to, some positive building. We had some guests invited, and I think we can build on this.
Awesome, good to hear. Any other joint council comments? We also had a fire at our Placentia Waste Recovery Facility on the actually first next day. So as most of you know, we were closed there for a week or so with some operational issues, and that have since been resolved or under getting resolved, I guess. And while we're closed, somebody went in and decided to set some tires on fire in there, and so it wasn't spontaneous. The RCMP were notified, but by the time they got in there and had a look around the phone and the firefighters and whatever, was not really much they could find. So and there was nothing much but the belt rubber, I guess, and few rims. So we were lucky in a way that there was no big wind, so none of the shingles or the other stuff there, the cat fire, so it was contained to a small section there of tires on rims. the interesting part of that was we had received a call earlier that day from one of the council in Placentia, I think, right?
Yeah.
Placentia, asking what was going on with the facility, when it was going to be open again. And one of the comments that they made was, he's going to end up being fire, you know, careful. So I don't know if he was clairvoyant or if he made a difference, but it's quite interesting to get that call and then that evening for the fire, so. Anyway,
Very same day.
very same day, so luckily it was, like I said, not serious and so. And we are back up again, done that, so all of our facilities are open,
Yes.
all of our facilities are back open. Onboard meeting software training reminder, if you haven't signed up, sign up. There's an email got out and I can see some of the perplexed looks on faces. We will send it out again.
14 of 21, so there's 6 here that needs to get back to me real quick.
So we will send it out again in the morning and there's 2 options for training. So if you could sign up. It'd be greatly appreciated. Then we can get on board with that stuff. That was like a standing joke, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, yeah.
I feel better than that.
No, I can't go that low. Next we'll have the roundtable discussions, so we'll start with Craig.
Go. No, I got.
Nothing there? Nothing there?
Nothing good.
Carl?
Oh, my good.
Amy?
Is Professional Administrators Day, so I just want to say thank you to all the administrators. You're welcome.
David?
Busy times up the shore, as many of you know, and a big iceberg in town, so lots of things on the move. We're looking forward to welcoming the board in Fairfield next month.
We're going. How big is the iceberg? Is it bigger than one last year? Or last year, this year?
A little bit small.
Next week.
Well, I bank around.
900 folks. Rob. Jim, good. Jim. Holly?
Yeah, I'll jump out. I don't have anything formal, but now that the board has adopted a motion to do the HHW mobile collections again, just want to let everybody know that we'll be sending the list of communities will be made public very quickly. Because I know some of the communities have asked that we communicate that information much earlier, so they can use it in their communications and hopefully boost our participation in the program. So you'll see those bit of correspondence going out on that.
Your road worship, Mayor Green?
Peace.
Just one thing that came up the other day, and just thought I'd share with you. I was at an event and it was home again furniture. And I was reminded that we do a program at the Brownhill Bay landfill. That if people are coming in with used furniture, and it's, you know, not to be thrown away, that it's useful, that it can be donated to home again furniture there, and so recycling that furniture. At the landfill, they have a container there and it's able to be.
Because containers also residents can drop off rather than that.
Yeah. Yeah, so,
At the residential drop off.
yeah, so if somebody's coming in with furniture, when the spotter gets the truck coming through. They'll say, you know, what do you have? And it says furniture, say, well, if it's, you know, in decent quality, you can keep it donated over there, rather than throw it in land. So it's a good reuse.
Is it, do they supply the containers or do they
We're
yours?
working out with Robin Bay with home again,
Okay.
so just a point that it's another it's just another way that we're reducing what goes in land.
I wonder what the ERSB be interested in the pilot project, we should reach out to Charles and see if we do a pilot project, they got the travel or.
Yep.
Christie, I'm sorry, can you finish?
I am.
Christie?
Just something that's come up, the board has, 4 new contracts starting in the next few months, and because of that, there are some calendar changes. So the first of those calendar changes comes into effect the 1st of May. So if you're in the Isthmus area or the Southwest Avalon area, I'd encourage you to check our website or check your mail. The mail would have gone on the 31st of March. Or contact our office for any changes in your scheduled collection day.
Yeah. Glenn?
Nothing to me, thanks, Chair. Well, I think the idea of the recycling furniture is good, and I think Leonard would be a good area. Lots of guys are breaking it up and burning.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else that either, so it might be an opportunity to, the crackers, you want to do that?
It's fine.
Yeah. And Nick,
Good. Thanks.
all right, Sheila?
Got just a brief comment. Of course, April 22nd was celebration of Earth Day. As,
And my wife's birthday.
what's that?
Yes, my wife's birthday.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. So obviously it's a great opportunity to do some celebrating, right? You know, instead of, all of the rest that we have to deal with. But regarding clear bags, there was some really interesting statistics that was brought forward when we were talking during the flag raising event at the city of St. John's. In 2022, the city of St. John's collected more curbside recycling than it had in the past 5 years. In fact, about 500 more tons of curbside recyclables were collected in 2022 than in 2021. And why the big increase? Well, it's the first year the city of St. John's required to clear blue bags for curbside garbage, and recycling became mandatory. So, I mean, it's kind of proof in the pudding. And there's all kinds of other great educational things that certainly ensued as well too with our staff on that day. And of course, as the mayor had mentioned, certainly the collaborations that we have with great organizations as well. So, it's just continuing to grow.
Where is that? Where those?
This was a little blog that the city put out,
Okay.
so I can certainly get you some of that
If you could,
information
yeah,
if you like.
send it to Linda, so I won't use that, some of that content.
Yep.
So,
Circulate.
yeah, no, sometimes we'll get it out there.
Absolutely.
Use the
Okay.
stats, good stats.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah.
All good.
Always moving for the okay. I just got one piece there. I guess most of you were copied on it today. Municipal Affairs sent out a press release this morning, and there will be a review being, it's not regionalization basically, but they are going to do a review of the regional service boards right across the board. So we had a Zoom call yesterday morning with the minister and some of the officials in the department to give us a heads up that this announcement was coming out today. And basically what they're looking for is what can we do differently, what can we do better, what we can add onto our plate as a regional service board in order to help facilitate, I guess, the move towards regionalization. Releases out, and I think we copied everybody out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And our response came out obviously with shortly afterwards. We're excited about it. It's something that we've been talking about for a long time. Some of the long-standing councils with the round table have been hearing regionalization for 20 years now. 25 years. So
Yeah.
it, I'm excited personally because I want to do my part and I want to move that ahead. And I think it's something that needs to happen. And I think, we've been talking about it for a long time. And I think at some point in time, we gotta start putting our, words in motion. So I'm looking forward to it. It's my understanding there's going to be a series of quick meetings within the next couple of weeks involving myself, the chair, and the CAO. There's going to be a couple of meetings where the chairs will be brought into and CAO is going to be brought in together and sit in the room basically to figure out what we're doing. So Rob came up with it actually. I thought about it. Rob brought my attention again late, so we thought about it.
I was first.
You were first. I can't prove that I thought about this afternoon. You thought about seating. I strengthened a committee of this group, a smaller subcommittee of this group, I should say, maybe that we can work on. I guess where this board needs to be going in the next 10 years. And there's some of the things that we've already set letters off, like putting liens on property as opposed to taking people's small claims for it, that kind of stuff. Mandatory property registration is another huge one. That's not a conversation I've had with the minister and with municipal assessment agency and a couple other like-minded groups that it's important that we got to get some of this stuff done. But I think if we struck a committee of 4 or 5 of us around the table, just to make sure that we don't overlook anything. So if you're interested in sitting on a committee like that, let me know. And I don't want it to be I don't want it to be cumbersome with respect to what people sit at the committee, but, you know, if we can get somebody from each of the regions around, around our section. You know, it would be good, because again, I don't want to miss the opportunity to miss asking for something, because now's the time. So, again, if you're interested in sitting on that committee, and I don't think it's gonna be onerous, I don't want it to be, you know, every week to 2 weeks or anything, but again, we can meet at some time to just sort of make sure we're lined up with everybody else. That's, I think it will be, roundtable stuff. Next meetings are there in your, package. And we're going to Period, the Regional Arts Center. And, we're gonna drive for Period.
Yeah.
So a picture of the big iceberg. So the Regional Arts Center, for people who don't know, Fairland is a main drag.
Main drag.
Yeah, main drag, is it? All right, so,
You see a big green building
all right, big green building,
on your left hand side.
yeah, hopefully we can all. make it.
the sign that says that, we'll turn around.
No, we should appreciate it. It's part of my, when I joined the board here in June, I wanted to get around the region a bit more because, you know, it's good to see firsthand what's going on in different municipalities. So it's, we've been to Clareville and.
Hey, Robert.
Yeah, so if you want to host us,
I'm gonna miss.
let us know.
And the last Southern Shore has been participating in regional services through this board since like 2010.
Yeah.
So it's a phenomenal relationship that we've had with the Southern Shore area.
So
Yeah.
look forward to going there. And please make sure that we invite the mayor.
Yeah.
To go, yeah,
Totally.
and maybe the mayor to the other neighboring communities as well,
Yeah.
they're around.
Yeah.
If you Want to join in?
Good idea.
Put it in their calendar. All right, with that, motion to adjourn. Kevin.
Yep.
Good job.
Oh.
No more.
I always do this. Yeah. They just kind of roll. We're gonna come on, count the same thing.